Today, in concert with our allies, we will agree a massive package of economic sanctions designed in time to hobble the Russian economy.
When Russia invaded Ukraine, many countries worldwide publicly condemned Putin and quickly cut economic and business ties. Thousands of businesses left Russia, and within weeks of the invasion, Russia was removed from SWIFT, the international payment system that enables money to be transferred globally. The Western sanctions hit the Russian economy hard, and over $600 billion of Russian central bank assets were frozen around the world. The global consensus at the time was that the Russian economy couldn't withstand this level of pressure. And many financial experts also speculated that the West's sanctions may even cause the Russian economy to collapse. So here we are 6 months later, and on the surface it doesn't appear that the West sanctions have worked as they were intended. Throughout Russia, there are many indications that the country is adapting to Russia's global sanctions better than predicted. Russian billionaires have been quick to swallow up the businesses that left Russia, and despite being the world's most sanctioned country, its economy hasn't collapsed. But is it all as appears on the surface? Why haven't the West sanctions been more effective? And where is the Russian economy headed? For now, Russia's economy keeps beating expectations, but as the war in Ukraine rumbles on in stalemate, Russia is staring down the barrel of the country's worst recession in a generation. So is Putin smarter than people give him credit for, or is it only a matter of time before the Russian economy collapses? So how much longer will the sanctions take to really hurt the Russian economy? So after Russia invaded Crimea in 2014, Putin began preparing the Russian economy in preparation for Western sanctions. Ever since, Putin has been stockpiling foreign currencies, moved away from Russia's dependence on the dollar, and created new alliances with countries like China. And when Putin invaded Ukraine, he did so knowing that he had sizable currency reserves and that Russia had relatively low public debt. Now, despite the groundwork that Russia and Putin have laid to weather the sanctions, they can't be weathered indefinitely. And on the flip side of this, many even suggest that Russia's economy is actually doing far worse than Moscow is reporting.
Russian domestic production has come to a complete standstill.
Jeff, good to see you. You have 9 myths here. This study boils down to this. Russia is in trouble, on the verge potentially of imploding.
Russia has defaulted on its foreign debt for the first time in over a century.
As of the time of this video, Russia still can't import many critical technology supplies. Another essential factor is that, as it stands, the Russian economy relies on oil and gas imports, and for the time being is benefiting from inflated prices due to record levels of global inflation. The Russian economy is so heavily tied to oil and gas exports that they account for nearly 60% of all Russian exports, almost $238 billion, or 39% of the national budget. This puts the Russian economy at significant risk because the world is moving away from fossil fuels, which now have a limited lifespan. So quite simply, when global prices and inflation fall, and Russia no longer has such a robust oil and gas industry, the sanctions are likely to really hurt the Russian economy. It should also be stated that the sanctions haven't yet fully kicked in. At the end of 2022, the EU will implement its ban on 90% of all Russian oil imports. This would mean that Russia would lose revenue from as much as 2.3 million barrels of crude oil daily. So with all of this in mind, where is the Russian economy headed? Well, let's suppose that Russia is to walk away with victory in Ukraine. In that case, Putin will have to mobilise significant amounts of industry and rely on growing social support in Russia. And it's difficult to understand how Putin is going to achieve all of this, given the increasing sanctions yet to come and the challenges Putin faces with his military. Western sanctions are yet to truly hit the ordinary people of Russia, and it is predicted that disposable incomes in Russia will see a decline of around 7.5%. Putin is obviously trying to shield his people and implement increases in pensions and an increase in minimum wages. The problem for Putin, though, is that he is head of a country where approximately 1 in 6 people live below the poverty line. And while it is difficult to predict how hard the sanctions will truly hit the Russian people, some analysts predict that the numbers living below the poverty line could double or triple over the next 12 months. If these predictions come true, then Putin will face real challenges, as the Russian people and those around him will likely turn on him. Over the last 20 years, the economic crises that Russia has faced have always been short-lived. The financial collapses in 2009, 2014 and 2020 involved steep declines but equally fast recoveries. And given what is potentially coming down the road for Putin and Russia, it is unlikely there will be any fast recovery from the Ukraine conflict. It is much more likely that Moscow will face stagnation and inflation for many years, if not decades. But what we all need to keep in the back of our minds, though, is what sanction policies can and can't achieve. They will obviously create economic pressure to help punish a nation, but getting Putin to change his ways, well, that's another story. So while the Russian economy currently keeps beating expectations, the continued economic sanction pressures will likely burst its current economic bubble. And ultimately it will be Putin's actions that destroy the lives of Russians for generations to come. And quickly before you go, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to check out this one up here because I'm sure you'll find it equally interesting, and I'll see you in the next one.